Hello everyone. Let me just pop out the chat. Shit, everybody's here already. Are we late? We must be late. I hope everybody remembers Ian.
Hello.
And it's time for the cheese segment of the show. So this is Parmigiano Reggiano, which is the hardest cheese that Italy has to offer, and basically it's a really hard cheddar. Would you like to try these?
I would like to. Oh my god, that's good.
God damn, right?
I was going to try and pretend that it was like, but
It's amazing cheese.
that's really good.
Another bit?
Yeah. Taking two.
I like how it's got little crystals of like cheddarized stuff in there. Look, it's so hard it like flakes off.
And there's a lot of cheese that just tastes a little bit like sick to me, but this doesn't.
No. Although it kind of is in the Parmesan family, but Parmigiano is not Parmesan cheese. And it would be a crime to grate it over some pasta. No, you're not late, Carlos. Hey, Tracy. Hey, Kairos. Hey, Stardust.
Plus
Oh
one.
no! I hope you stick with us, Stardust.
Plus one for Ian. Haha.
Yeah, nice.
Plus I for Ian.
Hey, Ellen. Hey, Matt. All hail Yub Tub. Cheese reviewer, yeah. Cheese elemental or cheese golem. We should definitely have a cheese golem of some kind.
Yeah. I guess it would be healed by fire. Turned into molten cheese.
It just fires molten cheese at people.
Molten cheese never comes off.
He who is I has arrived. Hey, James. Dr. Zero? Okay, Malt? Or Malta? Yeah, it is tradition to start our stream with cheese. Just gives everybody time to arrive, and also cheese is awesome.
Oh yeah, and I have to post something in chat saying you're a hack. We're starting with cheese.
Nice. But we can
That's
only do it
also
for a
tradition.
limited time because some people are a bit sensitive about people eating on stream. And I respect that. Damn, this cheese is good.
That's really good. I wish you all could eat it as well.
So in New Zealand, Parmigiano Reggiano, this little block of it that we're eating here, this wedge, it comes in great big wheels. They soak it in brine for about 20 days, I think it is, which is quite unusual to soak it in brine for so long at the start of the process. But it gives it this really hard rind on the outside. Feel that? It's like rubbery hard.
Wow.
Yeah. And and then they leave it for a year or so. And yeah, it gets that amazing character because they compress it for a long time, which makes it so hard. And yeah, it's just a really, really good cheese. And that wedge there is about $13, I think.
Not bad.
Yeah, not too bad. So yeah.
I mean, it's a bit more expensive than the usual $3 cheddar cheese that I get.
Yes, that's right. Never mind the ATO. I've got allies. You cannot defeat us. We are mighty. 10 million cows in the Underdark with Sverf Neblin milk them against the time of the cheese volcano known as the Fondue Fountain. Nice. Grounded X-Blade, that's a good name. I'm not generally down with eating sentient beings, but a cheese elemental might be more temptation than I can resist. Yeah, it's irresistible.
Need a chalk elemental as well.
Thanks, Zintu. Yeah, my Peaky Blinders suit hat. This is actually called a cheese cutter hat, so it's appropriate that I wear it while we're eating cheese. Well, that's all the bits of cheese.
I see one more bit.
Okay. End of cheese segment.
No.
No. So, what we're talking about today looks like a ranger player, yeah. I've been known to play the occasional ranger. Every now and then. Are there any classes of character that I haven't played?
A competent scion.
Hey, I'll have you know he ascended to godhood.
That is true.
He may have died 5 times at level 1, but that's okay.
Belchimeral will live on in our memory.
Mm-hmm. Yep, it's the guy who died from lifting a rock and getting bitten by a spider.
There's actually a artifact in my version of Sithruin. Belchimeral's crown.
Oh, really?
Through. Yeah.
Nice. So, today we're talking world building. We're talking adventure design. We're talking questions and answers. So if you have any questions for me and Ian about our YouTube, well, not necessarily YouTubing, about our adventuring, about our DMing careers, because we've been playing together for a decade or so.
Yep.
Yep.
He's been in my games. I've been in his games.
Yep.
We've both been in another game and quit that pretty quickly.
Yeah. Yeah. We've also, I don't know, have you ever thrown anybody out of your gaming group like I have?
I'm too nice.
You are too nice.
I'm way too nice.
Or do you just sort of dissolve the entire group equitably?
I have done that.
Right.
Not equitably either. I've just been like 3 different people having problems gone, I'm done with this group.
Yeah.
I'm out.
Yep. Yep. Indeed, quests. So, Ian and I did, remember we did our Sithruin recording the other day, well, a few months back, where we were designing the world of Sithruin, just sitting down and talking about it while we were poring over a map. Well, yesterday we did a similar sort of design thing where we were just working on a concept that just sprang out of a conversation we were having about ecology and interesting creatures. So we've recorded that, and I'm going to be working on it and hopefully zhuzhing it up to make it visually interesting as well as audibly interesting, because it is a really interesting conversation.
We got halfway through the conversation, we're like, we should be
recording this. And so that the seed of it is basically a weekend adventure sort of thing, so like an adventure module that we could produce, I imagine.
Yep.
But also I'd like to work on some beginner starter modules for people who have just started D&D. And this is kind of, I thought, in the vein of D&D Basic, where, I don't know about you guys, if you ever picked up the basic red box set, but when I first got hold of D&D, I had nobody to play with. But the basic set had an adventure in the book which you could play by yourself. Kind of like Tunnels and Trolls. You could play Tunnels and Trolls by yourself as well. And there's no reason why you can't have a basic adventure which you can play by yourself to introduce you to both running and playing the game as a dungeon master. So when you start playing with somebody else, you're ready to go. You've already played it through. And I think that's one thing that Lost Minds of Phandelver doesn't really have, is that capacity to just play it by yourself, to understand the game before you start playing with other people. So this is Ian.
I don't know if you can see that arm.
Hi, Adam. Do we have running jokes? Oh God, yes. Oh my God. Like
hydrogen gas.
Hydrogen gas. So like in-game jokes, like Chul, for instance. If a Chul shows up in the game,
we're dead.
Somebody's going to die. One of the characters is definitely going to die, because Ian has been in my games long enough to see this happen over and over again. Chuls kill characters. They just do. Even like very cautious characters get killed by Chul.
Yeah. Sometimes especially.
Yeah.
Like the person who hangs back, water, underground, obvious Chul.
Yeah.
Hang back.
Yeah.
Chul above you.
Yeah.
You die.
Yeah, that's right. Yep, the Chul's waiting to ambush you because they knew you weren't going to go into the water.
Yeah.
Or something will happen, like there's a landslide or something, and you end up plunked into a water, and you're like, no, Joel.
My running joke with AJ when he's in my games is there will always be a prominent rock that it's just really inviting to look under.
Yeah. Oh, I'm just going to go and lift that rock. Giant spider.
Giant spider,
Shit.
constitution damage.
Yep. Every time. Patron wine of cheese and apples. Nice.
Hello, Tracy. Hello, Dragon Turtle. Dragon Turtle, you've killed at least a couple of my characters. Hi, Kairos. Hopefully.
Yep, it's Kairos. Well, I pronounce it Kairos. Kairos has never corrected me. Basic D&D glue stick sticks. Yeah, exactly.
Fishbowl of holding. What a cool idea.
Can take Flipper with them. Nice. Tracy, you should be the goddess of cheese, wine, and magic. Hey, Gadzooks. Choo! They probably had it coming, yeah, probably.
I guess the only other running joke that I have for you when you're running a game is just the inevitable countdown for the Roper and the Mind Flayers.
Oh, yeah. I also have a knack for always surprising people with Ropers. Like, they never see it coming. I'll be describing the scene, and it's clearly a Roper encounter, but you're just like, there's cords on the ground? What? Yeah, there's these stalagmites up ahead, and these like armor pieces and stuff, and there's all these strands of stuff all over the ground. Interesting. And they're like thinking webs, you know.
It's so awful how often we're like, okay, you use ropers in every single encounter. Stalactite with ropes. I wonder what that could be. When they actually come, it takes us by surprise every time. We could be joking half an hour beforehand that there's going to be a roper, and then the roper shows up, and we're like, "What is this?"
Yeah, I got Matt Click. Matt Click is a fairly famous D&D YouTuber, and we were playing an online game, and it wasn't until the thing pretty much opened up its eye right in front of him. He's getting pulled towards a stalactite with a rope, and he's like, "What's going on? Who's got me?" And then this eye opens up, and he's like, "It's a roper. You got me cold." It was great.
I think you genuinely extend some sort of psychic field around you that just is like it nullifies people's suspicions of ropers when you're actually using them.
Yeah.
It's like a perception filter.
Yeah. Hey, Pancho, nice to see you again. Ugly weirdo, how's it going? I don't need wrenches. No, I don't. Freedom! Stardust Soul, that's nice. Small humans can be fun. They can also be a nightmare.
Absolutely no in between.
There's no in between, yeah. They're either great or horrors. With Dragon player characters, not for Dungeons and Dragons, but I have played lots of Rifts and Palladium game stuff.
I like the Cloak of the Concords.
Cloak of the Concords. All rolls you make as a bard are made with advantage, but all rolls made to impress women are made with disadvantage. Yeah, those guys in real life they do okay. Particularly Jermaine. He went on to be in Men in Black 3.
Really?
Yeah, he was the guy with the teeth and the fangs and stuff.
I never saw Men in Black 3.
Haven't you?
No.
Oh, we're definitely watching this after that. Watching that after this. Hey, thanks, Hoofgoon. Just curious what the limitations are with the graded demiplane spell in terms of the world you can create inside of it, things like the flow of time. So, that's a very good question. I haven't actually dealt with the demiplane creation for quite some time because they don't really do that in 5th edition as of yet, as far as I know. So, demiplanes are the capacity of your character, your level and things like that, and what you're willing to expend on it. I think it might have cost you experience points too at some point to make demiplanes.
Almost certainly.
So a lot of the features of your demiplane are really up to your player character's oomph, how much they can put into it. And that's got to do with the gravity conditions and flow of time, all that sort of stuff. So I would have to look up an answer for that for you and give you an answer to that. I'll put a note down and do a vid on that at some later stage, making demiplanes, because that's a really interesting cosmological question.
Would it be fair to say that because it's a demi-plane, it would sort of have to still comply with the whatever cosmological constraints there are for the realm? So
yeah, because
you wouldn't be able to screw with time on the material plane because it's still tied in to the material plane somewhat.
That's
but if you
a very good point.
If you had a demi-plane on the Feywild, then you could screw with the flow of time,
right,
as related to the material plane.
What do you think? So, like, if you're doing a sort of a spelljammer thing, then you're in the sphere. So, if you're in realm space sphere and you're making a demi-plane, which is effectively a parallel dimension, does it have to conform by those rules, or are you making? If it gets too weird, do you like pop into the far realm? If you're too far removed from your plane of origin and your basic rules for gravity and time, do you go weird?
I think a spelljammer ship still has to comply because it's creating an antithesis of the existing rules. So if such a rule didn't exist in the material plane, there'd be no way for the spelljammer ship to oppose it. Make sense?
No, I totally.
Okay.
I didn't get that at all.
I'll do a video on that one.
Yeah, you should.
Void ship theory.
Can you really call party members friends? Yes, you can. But you can also be a party member with somebody who's not your friend. You can even play role-playing games with people who aren't your friends, but I wouldn't recommend it.
No, I wouldn't recommend that.
Also, somebody who plays role-playing games with you is going to end up being your friend. Or very much not your friend. It's pretty much a catalyst for the making or breaking of relationships I've discovered over many years.
I mean, the party for Sithrin Modern right now, half of them don't like the other people because they feel their personalities are too forceful. It's like butting heads all the time, but they're contractually obligated to stay together. Because
you're talking about the player characters.
Yeah, they're working for a...
not the people.
Not the people.
You have to play this game.
Not quite yet.
Not quite. Robert, we had some cheese, some Parmigiano Reggiano, and we're talking about our campaigns and questions and answers.
You should tear off some cheese for us to eat as a sort of...
No, the cheese segment is over.
God damn it.
Let it go. So
I understand now. I used to give you trash talk for the cheese segment, but I get it now. It's delicious.
Yeah, it's totally. That's why I have to limit it. So otherwise, I'll eat that entire thing. Just reminding everybody that the Greed Dragon is here, and it is a monetized super chat. So there's a lot of questions getting fired at us. So if you need to catch my attention with a question, just a little donation, we'll pop it up on the screen. Elenville has so I have a theory that Asmodeus has some deeper relationship with the Oberth, considering Pazuzu whispering to him and Pale Knight being the parent of Grast. Any ideas? Yes, I do have ideas about that. So it's refreshing to hear two Kiwi accents. Oh, thanks, CW. So Asmodeus does have a special relationship with the whole Abyss thing. Because he was the angel or the archangel that was in charge of guarding Tharizdun's prison, and he became corrupted by the echoes of the Shard of Ultimate Evil. So Tharizdun, I don't know whether Tharizdun was whispering to Asmodeus or he was just corrupted by Tharizdun's dreams. As far as I know, Tharizdun doesn't know that he's in a prison. He thinks he's in a universe that he conquered and turned into the universe that he thought should be. Did you hear something 40k related? Oh, it wouldn't take long to get me talking about Warhammer 40k. You have nothing to add. So yeah, Asmodeus definitely has got a relationship with the Oberth. He's definitely got a relationship with Pale Knight, or had a relationship at some point with Pale Knight. The details of which are largely up to you. I don't know. But yeah, there's definitely something going on there. Asmodeus is like a veneer, so the appearance of Asmodeus is not his true form, as far as we know. Hey, thanks, Robert Wilson. First, my heart goes out to your country after the tragedy, and I wish you all the best. Oh yeah, I suppose we should probably address that as well.
Yeah.
Since
that's a pretty big topic.
Yeah. So it's been a week.
A week.
A week now.
A week and a bit.
Yeah. Our country definitely is different because of it, and so nothing like that has ever happened before. Um, um, and the real tragedy of it is that troll, that arsehole that did it, targeted New Zealand specifically because we're a place where that sort of thing is absolutely abhorrent. So he tried to do the most emotional and shock value damage as he possibly could. So as if destroying 40 people's lives and all of the people who are associated with them and their friends, their families, the people they work with. So there's been big vigils and memorials and stuff all around the country, rallies and stuff. I think the world is shocked how fast we put through legislation to ban semi-automatic firearms, or just basically weapons that can be militarized. So nobody, like, we still have semi-automatic 22s and stuff for hunting pests and things.
Yeah.
But no large caliber firearms that are basically designed to kill human beings.
And it was really cool how the gun companies in New Zealand were also like, actually, all right, let's get these out of here. They're not needed.
Yeah. So the gun companies were ready to comply straight away, and they basically did all the facts and figures, and it'll cost the government about $200 million to buy back all of the weapons and things that are out there. People are already handing in their weapons to police already.
Yeah.
So they've basically set up the system for handing in guns already. And so the interesting thing is this I don't know if any of you know this, but this pretty much happened in Australia during the Howard administration, when I think Helen Clark was in charge or something like that. And I think at the time New Zealand probably should have followed suit and had the same ban on firearms, because this has been in effect in Australia ever since then, and they haven't had any mass shootings or anything like that. That was a case of somebody who was like very mentally ill, and I suppose this guy was very mentally ill as well,
and or evil.
Well, both. It's possible to be mentally ill and evil. So this so you won't hear Kiwis talking about his name. You won't have Kiwis talking about his manifesto. A lot of Kiwis will not know his name or anything about what he stood for or what his message was. The majority of Kiwis will not have watched his footage of this event. And I'd say the majority of Kiwis absolutely support the ban on guns, and even the somewhat draconian actions of our government to shut down websites that were streaming that footage.
I unfortunately watched about 10 seconds of it.
Yeah, I have not watched it at all.
Oh.
Yeah. And
Not fun.
No, not fun. I would say traumatic would be the thing. And I'd encourage people not to watch it, not to disseminate any information, not to publish any of his manifesto stuff, to absolutely condemn any of your government or anything like that that recommend that anybody read the manifesto, because really it's legitimizing an act of madness, craziness. Our leader is a good leader. She's pretty fresh really, I think.
I went to school with her.
Yeah, she's got so she's our generation. She's got she was mentored pretty much by Helen Clark, who was a really good PM. She's got a really good backup in the form of Winston Peters. He is an absolutely experienced politician and a very good deputy PM, who's really stepped up to the plate. I think he's probably knocked back on his Scotch consumption quite a bit, maybe. But he's like a real statesman sort of guy. And she's doing a pretty good job, I think. So it's definitely, we're a centrist sort of country. Our politics are central, like moderate. And our two main parties are moderate right and moderate left. So we've just come out of a long 8-year period of moderate right, which did a lot to build up our economy, but didn't do a lot for social welfare and our socialism sort of thing, because we're a semi-socialist country. A lot of people need to understand that we pay a lot of taxes, but those taxes go into healthcare and housing and income support and accident compensation. So we don't sue people when we get injured. We just go to the hospital and get treated for free. And it's paid for by employer levies, and all that sort of stuff. We basically automatically get health insurance by the state, and it's all controlled that way. So yeah.
Let's move back to D&D.
Yeah, D&D.
Some
Sorry.
of these comments.
Yeah.
They're veering.
Yeah. So, yeah, he was off his rocker, and we're okay. We're okay. But yeah, we're going to be reeling from it from a long time.
We will get better.
Yeah. No, New Zealand doesn't execute people. We don't have a death penalty. So he will be tried and convicted for murder and put in prison for a very long time. Back to worky jobbiness. Hey, X-Poison. More D&D. Yeah. Hey, thanks, Kick-Ass Duke. Do you have a structure or outline for writing the backstory to a major city or race in your settings? Absolutely, I do. I have a world, map, races, and macro timeline, but looking for tips writing the specifics for minor regions. So my recommendation is look at it from things that are memorable to the players. So what do you remember about Cormier from adventuring there?
See, that's you and I continue with your example, and then I'll do my example afterwards because I have a different method.
I'm talking about when you were a player character in Cormier.
I don't remember houses or monuments or
Food.
anything.
Do you remember any food?
I remember the tavern. I remember the food.
Yep.
But I also remember the NPCs.
What was the weather like?
It was just blizzard all the time.
Yeah, it was really cold.
We were trapped inside.
Yeah. So it was cold, and they're sitting in a tavern, and they're eating buns, sticky buns and black beer.
Yeah.
And that was Cormier for them. And like wood furniture and lots of sort of traders, people who are sort of stuck and snowed in for the winter.
I remember the guy that we left to get killed by centaurs.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Well, he was bad anyway.
He was bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bad little fairy. So what do you do for your campaign? So basically, in a nutshell, what I give them is key points about a region. So what's a specific cuisine, and I hammer it home to them that there's this black beer and it's sort of stuff, or like cave fisher alcohol for dwarves, or so regions will have a particular flavor. Make sure that your NPCs that are in that particular region, their names have a similar vibe to them.
Yeah.
Like if you're in Cormier, they'll have an Italian sort of vibe to their names and stuff, and their accent is supposed to be kind of Italian. Tharassa or whatever the language is. Common in Faerun is actually like an Italian language, which a lot of people don't realise.
Whereas backstory for me is all about the places of power. So I'll have a map in front of me. I'll usually draw the map before I actually put anything into it, just so I can go, well, this is a river running through it, therefore it's going to have this sort of trade. And I accidentally drew a mountain here, so that's probably a key central part of the
right. So you do a lot of world building.
I do tons of world building, and then I populate it first of all with places of power. So I go, here is the suburb of Petroska in Nyaref.
Yep.
They are far away from the centralized government on the islands. They're probably not going to be policed much. They're a gang. They're a massive gang. Okay. And then they start building up the places. What type of gang are they? Well, it's Nyaref, probably lots of narcotics, so they're a drug cartel. Where are their places of power? Where are the places where you can buy stuff? And then what's the public reaction to this? Probably not much.
Yeah.
Around the drug dens.
Yeah, if your local government is a gang, you basically toe the line.
Yeah.
CW writes, do you have a favourite god or gods within the lore? Either that you like to incorporate into the games, or that you dislike, and why?
Palor.
Yeah. Palor. Palor is definitely the go-to for the... it can be good and bad. Like, I like having faiths that are like... Because I like a lot of cathartic sort of... faith is bad in D&D occasionally. Like, they use it as a political tool.
Yeah.
To get fervent, get people to do what they want. So occasionally you'll have like pogroms of religious cleansing and things like that, and cultists essentially But yeah, Palor is a good go-to. I also like the crazy gods like Blibdoolpoolp. And I really liked Andrew's interaction with the Blibdoolpoolp and stuff. I do like Asmodeus and Orcus and Demogorgon as sort of deific figures that are involved, even though, you know, a couple of those are demons, but still.
Yeah. When I started playing D&D, it was 3rd edition. And I was just flipping through the book. My very first character was a cleric, because the cleric of Palor really struck out to me as looking really cool in the picture.
Yeah. I also really like Suni. Suni as a religion. I've included NPC, like an NPC priestess of Suni. It accidentally was named the same name as one of the players' wives, which
poor woman.
Yeah, she fell face first into some acidic fungus, and that was not good. No. And then I think she got eaten by mind flayers.
But then she became golden like the rest of us at some point, right?
Yeah,
I think she got that back.
Yeah. But yeah, so we do definitely include gods, and we sort of pick and choose. We don't use a lot of the obscure ones. Like, I don't think we've ever used Ogma or Denier or anything like that.
I do like the book series about the Cleric of Denier, though.
Yeah. I also like background gods like Azuth and Mistra and stuff, gods of magic that are sort of, they're in there. And you have gods like Maliki and the evil sea goddess Umberlee, yep. So you have, like, there's a temple of Umberlee along the seashore, and all the players are like, nope, we're not going anywhere near it. I was like, you're not going to even like light a candle in the shrine? Nah, we've got nothing to do with the sea. We're going inland. I'm like, damn it, that encounter's ruined.
I'm a massive fan of the Raven Queen.
Oh, Vecna, yeah, true. Oh yeah, the Raven Queen.
Love the Raven Queen.
Yep.
Who else? Oh, Kossuth.
Kossuth.
Yeah, I love Kossuth.
Yeah. Robert Wilson, back to D&D. I've found that several Spelljammer books still circulating around, and was wondering if you knew which one would work well for a high-level 5e adventure. And happy late St. Patrick's Day. Happy St. Patrick's Day to you. Rock of Brow, probably. So if you're going on a starting adventure, basically what you want to do is you want to... He knows nothing about
Spelljammer. They can't even read it.
Know nothing about Spelljammer. I think I have a Vivid somewhere. What you want to do in a Spelljammer adventure is either they're probably, as soon as they've got a ship, they're going to go everywhere, and it's going to get very hard to get them tied down to any sort of adventure path, because they're just going to jump from location to location. So what happens when they jump to a location, which is like a port, like the Rock of Brow, you establish some sort of, we're going to pay you a lot of money if you go here and get this thing. So essentially, you encourage them to go back and forth. You put something on the Rock of Brow that they really want, but they need a lot of money to get it. Then somebody offers them a lot of money to go to a specific location somewhere exotic. So on the way there, they have some encounter which damages their ship and delays them somewhat. When they get there, they expend their resources. They have to go somewhere else, maybe to stock up or repair their ship. And then they get back to the Rock of Brow and get paid the money and get the thing that they wanted. And you just rinse and repeat that cycle. And that's your exploration Spelljammer campaign, essentially. And that way they get to use their ship, they get to go places, they get to swashbuckle, they get to swing across the riggings, they get to get into bar fights and, you know, have reoccurring pirate characters that they meet from here to there, or they meet them midway and settle their differences on the high seas of Phlogiston, sort of thing. And yeah, you have a really rip-roaring adventure that way. Dragon Turtle, you left a comment on the Golem video. There was no reply. Was I late, or did I finally accidentally cross the line with the number of questions? I just might not have gotten to it yet, Dragon Turtle.
He's been a bit busy entertaining me for the weekend.
Yeah, a little bit.
St. Patrick's Day is commonly celebrated in New Zealand because we have a massive drinking culture.
Yeah. Anything that involves drinking alcohol, yeah, for sure. So we dye everything green and do the whole thing. In fact, I had a workmate who was half Nauruan and half Irish.
Yeah.
It's hilarious. So he was like this Polynesian guy that was right into St. Patrick's Day.
Oh, and it's not a big thing, although it must be a big thing if I'm talking about it. Ian is I-A-I-N.
Yeah. I-A-I-N. So yeah, Dragon Turtle, I'm never bothered by all of your big strings of questions. Yeah, so don't worry about it.
I think most DMs will find the players who ask questions are wonderful. There's some exceptions.
Yeah, well, yeah.
It
Yeah.
usually means you're showing an interest.
Yeah.
He may have just missed it. It's totally fine. Or she. He or she. They may have just missed it.
Yeah. Yeah, you should visit. You'd like the climate. It's a very green place. It's like Ireland on crack. Not crack as in good time crack, but yeah. It's Ireland on steroids.
I like to think of New Zealand as Riva from the Bulgariad series. This harsh, foreboding, usually cold, rocky place with colourful people on the inside.
It's not that harsh. Okay, there's some parts of New Zealand you'll go to and you'll look out around the landscape and there's nobody around apart from maybe a sheep and a couple of birds, and you're like, I am so alone.
Yeah.
You feel like you're the only person on the planet. And it has that kind of lonely vibe to it because it's a very long way from anywhere and it's a fresh country that's not used to the tread of human feet. Like you go to somewhere like America and you're walking around and you're walking around on like Monument Valley and it's used to be an ocean, right?
Yeah.
And you just feel the weight of time, but you also feel like there's like nothing here hasn't been trod on or picked up or looked at by humans for thousands of years. You get to New Zealand and there's some bits where you step off a trail and you realise you just turned over a rock which has never felt the touch of a human hand. So yeah, there is that too.
New Zealand embodies the D&D points of light.
Yeah, it's an undiscovered country. It's points of light in a wilderness. Yeah, bit of crack. Yeah, don't forget we've got a lot of we're built up of immigrants from other countries, and a lot of them are fairly recent.
Yeah,
so we celebrate all the differences
by taking the piss out of them.
Yeah, nothing is too sacred. Any new stuff for Sithrune? Yeah, so I am still running an adventure in Sithrune Prime. Ian is running a parallel campaign in Sithrune Modern, which is a different world, but it's a replica of
pretty much the same history and everything. Looks like the Supreme God failed. I'm starting out in the different place though, so I'm going with my favorite Eternal Nyareth, the Eternal Hunger.
And these guys in the Sithrune Prime campaign have teleported across to the middle of the continent from the coast, which was quite unexpected. Went across the desert, which was full of insects and nastiness. Accidentally killed a bunch of people. Actually, there was a lot of accidental killing of people in this campaign so far. So they basically just then there was a fireball incident in a small room that killed a couple of key characters, and then another couple of characters just left. And that was unfortunate. Then one of the players left the game, and now we've narrowed it down a bit, and we're playing basically a gang of hoodlums who are in a city which is ruled by gangs.
The others might be hoodlums, but Frask is born leader.
Yeah, Frask is going to get them all killed. So one of them has made a pact with a devil in a lower city, and this talking of how you make campaign places memorable and world building. So this was very much, we're in a new location, quick, come up with the concept really quickly. So I like the idea of a chasm city. And in this particular case, I wanted there to be a difference between one wall of the chasm and another wall of the chasm, and also some division between the steps going down, kind of like a classic dungeon crawl, where you go past that, like the lower down you go, the more nasty and horrible it becomes, which is classic D&D, really.
Yeah.
So in this case, the top levels, the levels closest to the surface, are ruled over by Dragonborn, who, unbeknownst to the player characters, but I can reveal this to you.
Awesome. I definitely won't miss a game.
There are no dragons in Sithrune. So Sithrune has got animalistic dragons that have kind of degenerated from a previous era.
Yeah, so he had dragons, talking magical flying dragons, and the whole time I'm just going, what are you doing?
What? This isn't what we planned at all.
And then at one point I said to you, as a fellow DM and co-creator of Sithrune, why are there dragons? And you said they're not dragons.
Yeah, they're not dragons.
And I was like, oh god.
So the Dragonborn maintain rule over the unruly by basically being the servants to dragons, which are nothing but illusionary projections, shape-shifted versions of themselves.
Oh, son of
So the blue Dragonborn that you dealt with, who was the major domo of that enclave, was actually the dragon that you were dealing with.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Things make a lot more sense now. Yeah. So when you were going to an audience with the Emperor, it wasn't actually a big dragon that you were going to go and see. It was the ruling house of Dragonborn.
Okay then.
Yeah.
Vraska must meet them.
And down below,
dragon blood.
Yeah, and down below, and so as you go lower down the tiers of the city, it gets into gang-ruled territory, which is still got. So there's Dragonborn from the surface world, and there's Dragonborn that live below, and the below world of Sithrune is an entirely different story from the surface world of Sithrune. It's much more dangerous, and which you guys have kind of discovered. At one point, I really love the imagery of... so we've got this kobold player character who's on a cart of flaming flour sacks with Crandy's House of Dumplings written on the side of the cart, and picture it going wah! Over the edge of one of these chasms and just going and flying down with like flames billowing behind it.
Grandy,
I
did it for you.
Grandy, I love you. And he's going flying down to a certain death, and I just like, yeah. It was the player's birthday on this particular time, and so I have a couple of homebrewed traditions. Is you always get a free natural 20 on your birthday that you can use at any time and store it until you want to use it. So at any time you can just say, I roll a 20, and yeah, I think that's a pretty good birthday gift.
Yeah.
Also, his character had been vying as like your toady second in command, because his character Frask is like the leader of their gang. I'm getting very detailed on this and maybe putting people to sleep. But the things that stand out in this city is like it's run by evil, horrible bosses.
Yep.
Gang warfare is the way everything works. Everybody pays graft, and there's racketeering and stuff. It's just the way business is done. Gangs, there's a mutually assured destruction sort of thing going on with gangs, so that if you damage the elevators, which work between the different levels, all of the gangs are going to gang up on you and kill you, because that's all their property, combined property. So it's kind of like
with vampire assassins.
Yeah, so it's like vampire assassins come in and kill you, because they're like the bosses of bosses. And gang wars are serious business. So these guys got into a gang war with a bunch of minotaurs in level below. So
they started it.
And down below this, so there's this, when you go from the upper city, it looks like there's a river down below. And then when you go past this river, which is actually floating in midair with an illusion of banks around it, you go into the lower levels, and then it turns out that there's a level below that goes past this, what looks like a bottomless chasm, but is actually more levels down below, except this one, those levels are real serious. Hey, thank you, Joseph. I'm trying to be a better DM, and I'd appreciate your advice. How much and what kind of material do you usually prepare before a session, and how much of your sessions is pure improv? I'd say about 90% of my stuff is pure improv. So we've got a world map. We've got Jay's basic idea of what the region is that we've worked out beforehand. I've got in the back of my head sort of percolating along lots of world building sort of info, like what sort of creatures and stuff I want to see. But it could be influenced by what movie I've recently seen. And I pull things out of like stories and novels and stuff. Influenced by the YouTube videos I just made. So these guys are usually fighting whatever I've just made a video about.
Yeah.
Like all the friggin' time.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, AJ just made a video about golems. That's it. We're going to face a golem at some point.
Yeah.
Yeah. What about you? You do a lot of prophecy?
Tons of prophecy. So I used to. Sithrune Modern doesn't really have a place for prophecy beyond the whisperings of She Who Is Locked Below.
Yeah. We don't talk about She Who Is Locked Below.
No, we don't.
No.
It's about 50% planning for me. So I'll have a list of NPCs that I think that they're going to go to. I have the area map that they're in. I plan out the fights beforehand. I balance them to make sure that they are just the right side of too difficult. But then about 50% of it is winging it, because I find that players will often out loud make connections to the various clues that I've left that turn out to be way better than the stuff that I had planned. My players especially are very devious when it comes to trying to think of what I might be thinking of, and half the time they'll make a connection I never would have thought of, and they'll go, "That's exactly it. Well done. You figured out my puzzle."
Yeah, a large part of keeping players interested in the game is not giving them, knowing what they expect and knowing what they want, and giving them something slightly to the side of that.
Yeah.
So they're always left a little bit like dissatisfied with what's going on. They're always a little bit off kilter.
Yeah.
But every now and then you give them exactly what they want.
Yeah.
So they've worked hard and they're tired and they're like, "Oh man, when am I going to get a +1 sword?" And then sure enough, they get a +1 sword. It's a big deal.
The thing that I really like, I've brought in a lot of undead that can only be hurt by silver weapons. So they're all like, okay, we're going to get silver weapons eventually. Magical silver weapons at some point. Cool, we're looking forward to that. And actually, I'm not. I'm going to give them something that will allow them to dodge the undead.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
Something to bypass them, but is not a magical weapon.
Yeah. So it's a lot of homebrew, a lot of work, thinking on your feet, listening to your players, and interacting with what they're, letting them lead the story in many ways. So when you're sandboxing, you've got an idea of what's generally in the area, and what you do is you plan some set encounters, and you can drop those in at any point. Like it's modular, very modular. So I will have planned out an encounter with some riding beasts and some really fast creatures which have arrows and stuff, and I'm thinking, like, how devastating would it be, a volley of arrows as these things are running past, and how fast could the characters catch up with them. So I've identified like a weak spot in the characters' strategies, things, and just interested in how the players are going to interact with it. Normally they would interact with a fireball.
Almost
always, yeah. But
the first time we come across something that has immunity to fire,
yeah, we're gonna run screaming.
Yeah,
like,
horrifying.
No! Immune to fire? This cannot be.
Oh, you might have missed a super chat.
No, that was the same one.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. To Duck and World. So yeah, there's a lot of, like Ian says, when you'll have players, particularly new players to D&D, who voice a lot of their fears in front of you, and you really need to pick up on what they expect to go wrong, and give them pretty much close to that, but just a little bit tweaked, so it doesn't seem like they're just whatever they say gets used against them.
Yeah, don't make it wish fulfillment.
Yeah,
but make it definitely move in line with their expectations, because they're part of what's they're there because they're expecting a certain story.
Yeah. And also absolutely ask your players on a continual basis, not just session 0 before the game begins, what they want from the game, but carry on asking them, do you guys need more combat encounters? Was it too much? Do you need to go back to town and stuff? Because you guys really seem to enjoy interacting with the characters there.
Also, a thing that has helped me immensely, and I've only just started doing it for this campaign, there's another system called Fate, where basically characters don't have stats. They have one sentence aspects. Like Frask would be lizard folk with big dreams and big voice, and we'll have 3 of those. I don't play Fate anymore. It's not good for the people I know, but using aspects is fantastic. Just writing down several NPC cards with a name and then 3 aspects. That means that you can wing it if you need to. You don't have to map out every single answer. You just refer to the aspects to go, okay, they wouldn't talk about that because of this aspect. They would talk about this because of that aspect.
So how do you interact with the bonds and flaws and stuff, personality traits in 5th edition?
I don't.
Yeah.
I don't use it at all.
Yeah.
It's
So I think they've got the right idea with that, because that's definitely background stuff. I think an enterprising 6th edition thing would be to put some of the 4th edition bonuses for background stuff in there as well. Like, so you got a background as an Outlander, for instance, so you've got survival, skill, proficiency, and things like that.
Yeah.
But there should be something like a bond or a flaw proficiency as well. Like if you're a member of a...
There you go, Matt.
if you're a member of a guild, for instance, that guild should have an influence on your character. You should have bonuses and boons and things for being a member of a guild. I might have missed a super chat. Really? Or was that? Hang on,
that's what I said.
I'm just going to stream down.
God. Maybe back up further?
Nope.
Nope, doesn't look like.
You're
welcome, Matt, with 1 T.
It looks like we're frozen.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I can get closer if you want.
Leaf on the wind. Oh, what's all this? Alan Tudyk.
As Wash.
Yeah. Like a leaf on the wind. Too soon, man. Too soon.
Hoban Washburn. Hoban Washburn? No.
Here's an idea of a monotheistic society that despises magic and is actively trying to wipe out the weave. That would be difficult and probably a bad idea. Particularly on Faerun.
Era, how brutal are you in combat? Do you actively try to get the characters out of the situation if things go south? No. In fact, if we rush in, that's our own fault. And Frask was hovering around 2 hit points for most of the second part of the fight, getting healed and then hit, healed and then hit. I had to eventually run off and jump onto a gondola to get away. AJ is fully of the belief that if you're stupid enough to go into this fight, you deserve to die.
Yeah. I think I started off by saying this is clearly an ambush.
Yeah. And I was like,
yeah, we know.
Frask will wander out there, arms open.
Yeah.
Lizard folk with 20 charisma, we can solve anything.
Yeah. So the adventure the hook basically was Crandy, the goblin owner of the dumpling shop that the gang operates out of. Said we've got a cartload of flour and stuff which is missing. It's supposed to be here. I need to go and find it and bring it here. Otherwise, we're going to be out of business. We're not going to be able to produce any dumplings. And this is a dumpling restaurant. So these guys are kind of scared of Crandy, justifiably. She has a rolling pin with teeth inlaid into the handles. Actually, she took one of...
Yeah, she has one of my teeth.
Yeah, she bashed out one of Frask's teeth. Anyway, so up they go, and it's clearly an ambush. There's the cart is out in the open with a Minotaur sitting on it. The Minotaur has got like a Molotov cocktail, and there's Minotaurs on balconies. One set of them has got a net for throwing over things, and the other 2 have got heavy crossbows. So they're ready for a fight. And these guys, basically all of you are rogues, I think. So it's almost an entirely rogue party.
We thought it would be fun just to go with different archetypes, and we'd be like, yeah, when we get into battle, it's just like a mini fireball every turn.
Yeah, so they got arcane tricksters and assassins and all the different...
I'm a swashbuckler.
Yeah, all the different...
Sorry, Frask is swashbuckler.
Yeah, all the different varieties of rogue.
If Haley ever comes back to playing, Mastermind.
Oh, nice. AJ, if you had a player that played 80 games with you yet somehow never rolled well for treasure, never finding anything, would you go out of your way to just give them something or make them earn it? Yeah, I'd give them something, for sure.
Yeah.
In fact, I don't generally roll for treasure at all.
No.
Sometimes we do.
Yeah.
But for the most part, yeah.
Half the time it's just like, it makes sense for all this stuff to be here, so just choose 1 or 2 things yourself.
Yeah, yeah.
In my game... I mean, you didn't roll well when you were playing Beltramorol. We're going back ages. So I ended up elevating you to godhood instead. You don't have to give them something, just go, oh hey player, in game you suddenly find this item, you can go, oh hey player, a god has noticed that you succeed at incredible things, and yet you don't seem to, your god, whoever you follow, you achieve incredible things in their name, but you always seem to do so at a disadvantage. You've gained their notice. They give you this blessing,
a boon.
a boon that can have the same effect as a powerful magical item.
Yeah.
But just called a boon, a rose by any other name.
Yeah. Adam, that's a very good point, that you don't think the Underdark ends because different critters are always moving and burrowing and digging into it. Now, so what you need to understand about Faerun is that the surface of Faerun is a limited surface. The inside of Faerun is almost an unlimited amount of space. So not only do you have successive surfaces of layers of the Underdark, which continually expanding throughout those areas, but it goes down and down and down. So the Underdark can actually, in potentia, be much larger a world than the surface world. So the Underdark has phase rest energy, which is this divinely made magical, mystical energy that suffuses the Underdark, which plants and fungus and various animals have learned to live on. So it has an ecology completely separate from the outside world. A large part of that, I think, is in response to originally the sun got eaten by Dendar the Night Serpent, this primordial horrible serpent thingy, which is now sleeping under the island of Cholt, I believe. So the star that gives life to the surface of Toril got eaten, and it had to be recreated by the gods there.
Wow.
As a consequence, the sphere of Toril and the realm space within it is actually warmer than average, than your average realm space, your average inside space of a sphere, because it's had two successive suns, and so the star which is now orbiting Toril is a brand new star. So it's very complicated. So the Underdark actually supports way more life than it should. So it's much more vital, and it's got a lot more ecosystems. It supports a lot more predators and societies and civilization than any other Underdark in any other world, as far as I know. No such thing as a random magical item. Oh yes, there is. Yeah, we've come up with some beauties.
Bowstring of Wonder.
The Bowstring of Wonder. Brubalibalicious creations.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think that's the only reason that players should die. I think the theme of self-sacrifice is very powerful.
Yeah.
Players should be given the option to go, my character dies doing this.
Yep.
Because that's powerful.
Yeah.
And that's even if it's just the player getting bored with the current character and wanting to bring someone in, you can weave that into a story to make it seem like a good thing, a needed thing.
What's one of the best character deaths you've ever had?
Goodness me.
I think I'll always remember. Was it Alex the Spoonhammer? Doomhammer?
Yeah.
His character on the back of a chul.
Yeah.
Going saluting everyone and sinking slowly into the water, and knowing that his character was dead. That was fantastic.
Also, the time that he parachuted in and landed on a delay blast fireball, and instantly got obliterated. So his brother parachuted in.
Yeah, his carbon copy character parachuted in after him.
Going, where's my brother? What happened?
Oh, nice! The ring of invincibility. The ring is invincible, but you aren't. The ring stands alone.
I think my greatest character death was not in your game or anything, but there was a beholder coming towards us, and most of the people were on negatives, but thanks to various items and feats, were still managing to get away, and I was on 2 hit points, and I said, stand back, I got this, it's a spell. Wall of stone behind me, wall of force behind me,
right? So
that they couldn't get to me. And then when the beholder came near and tried to disintegrate me, portable hole into my bag of holding, a perennially favourite trick of mine.
Boom!
Both of us went to the astral sea, and I got disintegrated.
Right. And the beholder's like floating around. This is inconvenient.
Yeah. It's funny, when I first started playing D&D, I wanted my characters to really kick ass and become really cheesy and super powerful. The more I've played D&D, the more I've just wanted them to have a good exit.
Yeah, yeah. Like I have been kind of hammering that home to people, that character death is really quite fun. Like, how long's the stream been up? Over an hour. Just over an hour.
Damn it, I was trying to get you from not noticing and be like, 2-hour bumper stream!
Yeah. We have covered a lot, though.
Yeah.
It's been pretty good. Yeah, character deaths, man. I don't actually have a whole lot of characters that die, do I? Not permanently.
I don't know how to answer that with a straight face, AJ.
Not permanently. Yeah, I have a lot of characters that get killed.
Tons. AJ TPK Pickett. I hope I was allowed to say the second name.
Yeah, no, that's fine.
Cool.
Gauntlets of ogre power, but ogre gauntlets, very different. Yeah, gauntlets that turn you into an ogre. That's fantastic. Risky or self-sacrifice count as decisions, though perhaps bad was the wrong way to describe it. Yeah.
Probably.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
when it comes to DM mandated character death, bad decisions is probably the one that the players are going to go, yeah, fair enough. I have had occasional times that I've told characters, I've done experimental games where players level up a character to 3rd level, and then I go, and then the rock falls and you die, and you bring in the next group of characters, and now roll up new characters at 3rd level who find that scene, so that they have a sort of narrative sort of connection to the devastation that they're about to witness.
Yeah. One thing I absolutely hate is players who say, I'm not happy with this character, but I'm not just going to leave the game. I'm going to try and self-sacrifice. I'm going to try and suicide this character in the game. Because that invariably leads to other player characters risking their lives to save them for no frickin' reason. And the game descends into basically selfish chaos. That's a dick move, and you should definitely discourage players from doing that, or just outright kill their character. Your character catches a disease and goes crazy or something, or is possessed by a ghost, and they don't have any chance to make a saving throw. So just if that becomes, and if they're like, no, I want my character, it's like, no, what you're doing is unfair to me, so I'm being unfair to you. You should have consulted me with this first. It's a dick move, and it's going to destroy everybody's fun. So basically you're being passive aggressive to the group of people who are your friends. So fuck off. That's basically what I would say, because that's probably what I should have said in the past. And and eventually that player ended up leaving the game anyway, so it didn't really matter in the long run.
It certainly has grounded your exploration ideas, though. But you can start those up again. I have a pretty good way to get us out of the city and back to exploring.
Oh, yeah?
Just make the big boss angry with us and going, you all need to make us do something awful.
Right.
Stupidly bad. And just have us in a meeting in front of everyone going, be here at morning, you will bear witness to your own executions.
I do actually...
And then we're going to be like, okay, we're out.
Yeah, I do actually have another idea.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. That's invasion.
We will bug the hell out of
that.
Yeah. Vrask not very good at army.
Yeah. So another thing of shaking people up is you have world events, right? So I've had campaigns which were world events. One of them was an invasion of fungus from the far realm, sort of thing, or whatever, with the lizard folk in the jungle and stuff, and the onion dip situation going on. So these guys are completely tied up with this whole magical item onion dip thing. So that was from a delicious ooze. Basically, they had a big case of this pink salt that they added into food, and it made it absolutely irresistibly delicious.
That's another running joke.
Yeah, that is another running joke. So they had gotten this tavern. They didn't even really want this tavern, but they got it anyway. That was when we first encountered Crandy. She was the barmaid that was working at the tavern.
Yeah.
Crandy is a reoccurring goblin barmaid character who they've fallen in love with for some reason. And Tink, we need Tink back as well.
We do need Tink back.
Tink is a sphere with legs of unknown origin that just shows up, and Tink just communicates by tapping on things and pointing and stuff.
World building tip for the yellow one up there. I don't know if that was a question that we had to...
Just more world building tips, yeah. Thanks, Kikastri.
Someone mentioned weather a while ago, and saying that you don't have to...
Oh, the other thing that I always do.
You don't have to worry about weather, or if you have to worry about it when world building and stuff. I say, and this might be a unpopular opinion, I say that you don't have to think about weather until after everything is built.
Yeah.
For example, Nyareth is in the middle, the city of Nyar Saifa, the capital city of Nyareth, is in the middle of a jungle next to the lake of black water that is Nyareth. It's always raining,
Noxious,
it's always
evil
humid.
black water.
Yeah.
So
Occasionally
it's a tropical, sweaty place.
And then I built the city, and then afterwards I was like, the weather here is going to be really sporiferous. It's going to have lots of rain.
Like Hamilton.
Yeah. And it occurred to me, I didn't have to worry about the weather when I was first creating the city, because humans and humanoid races will build anywhere they can, regardless of what's the local weather is.
Yeah.
So, I say that weather doesn't dictate the shape of a city or the shape of the world. The world just happened to be like that with the weather.
Yeah.
It determines architecture.
Yeah. If I can, there is a novel which is one by Dan Ablett, I believe. It's a Warhammer 40k novel, and it's a hive city, and the hive city is plagued by acid rain. And the people that live there, and it's a hive city, there's millions and millions of people that live in this one big factory, industrial, housing estate city, are pretty much paupers, right? So they have their basic needs dealt to, but one thing they don't have given to them is any means of dealing with the acid rain. So the acid rain is caused by the industrial pollution produced by the hive city itself. And so people are kind of sickly and suffering from it, and everybody's got burns to some degree because they have to go out in the rain to do stuff. But they pay their pittance amount of credits to buy like little wax paper things that they stick on, but they're like little prayer psalms to the emperor that they stick on their skin to help protect them from the acid rain. And all the architecture is like burning and melted, and so the tops of metal spikes and things like that are jagged and sharp. And even the concrete is pitted and like looks worm-eaten because this acid is eating through the lime and stuff of it. So things are crumbly, everything's dangerous, bridges are rickety and stuff, and the people are all burnt and scarred and depressed, and it's a grim and grisly place, and it's like smells bad. And there's also these little automaton birds which are flying around, which also get burnt out by the acid rain as well. So it's kind of tragic that all the natural bird life and stuff has died, so they had to make artificial replacements, and even they are dying from this stuff.
So I guess a world building tip to sum up would be, assume that humanoids are going to build wherever, regardless of what the situation is, and then what do they do to mitigate the weather you decide to put there, and
turn that into the flavor, the unique flavor of your background, and hammer it home to the characters so that players remember. So this city has got a lot of pine trees. This city everybody's obsessed with meat pies.
In Nyar Saifa, there's lots of poor and people without jobs and stuff because of the Industrial Revolution, sort of the robotic revolution. But so most of them are employed either by giving blood for the Red Queen. So blood drives keep them employed, or fully a third of the city is employed to constantly be scraping off mold and to be shellacking, varnishing and stuff.
Anti-fouling.
And that becomes a thing. Wherever the characters go, they're seeing people who are just employed with the most basic of respirators, just going through and choking up mold,
coughing up green chunks. Pink spice. Yeah, that's true. No, It was the same logic. The best defense is being a good offense. How good offense favors body. Yeah. Reaver cannibalizes himself in front of the other player characters. Man, that's nice. That's kind of like your Warforged character. Yeah. So
I love that character so much.
Yeah, that's the voice they had to deal with for months. Stats for a giant clockwork kiwi, please. It's only visible at night. It makes squeaking sounds, and it specializes in eating subterranean worms.
The beak would have, if you wanted to make it horrifying, the beak could be made out of like adamantium or something that can just poke
plunge
through,
straight through. Plunges straight through the side of a building and snatches people out of it.
The olfactory senses will also be good.
How difficult is it to come back to life, or common are things that can destroy your soul? In D&D, it's quite common to come back to life. Depends on the magic level of your campaign. If it's a low-level campaign, low levels of magic, it can be quite difficult to get hold of a resurrection thing. Usually it requires like a diamond of 1,000 gold pieces, I think it is. For coming back from the dead. That's like a common D&D trope. In some people's campaigns, they have a limited amount of times that you can actually come back from the dead, so it kind of wears out your soul a little bit, like I feel myself stretched thin. Sometimes if people have been good in life, they go to a paradise when they die and they just don't want to come back to life. So it can be like, does your character, like, I would recommend if your player is playing a cleric of a good god like Palor or something like that, and they've been doing good things, explain to the player that their character is living in paradise and training to do something noble for the entire multiverse. So like they're on their path, they've gone through their thing, and so it's like I don't need to go back to that world because I have a new mission for my god who I'm talking to directly now.
Yeah.
So they just wouldn't go back to the squabbling in the mud for some pennies sort of thing. They've proven themselves to be on the celestial path to eventual archonship and angelship, and then perhaps deity at some point.
In Sithrin Modern, I don't know, because we've never discussed afterlife or resurrection.
No, we haven't.
But in Sithrin Modern, when the character dies, they essentially go into oblivion. There's no afterlife for the Sithrin Modern crew. When people come back, they just don't remember. So their soul isn't destroyed. Rather, it's just used as fuel.
Right.
Eternal fuel by the Eternals, wherever the soul decides to go to.
Yeah.
So I guess afterlife is the split second of choice that the soul goes, I'm going to the Eternal Hunger, I'm going to the Eternal Keeper.
Yeah. And all of them are basically just funnels of doom.
So when they do get the chance to cast Revivify or Resurrection or whatever, Gok the Lock, the Keeper of the Dead, will appear and go, convince me.
Yeah.
Convince me that you need to
play a game of chess. And, play a game of checkers.
Someone else said further back up.
I would play Jenga for my soul.
Someone said further back up, and I don't know if it was an accident, misspelling or not, that character death is impotent or impotent in D&D. As impotent in D&D as it is in superhero comics. And I don't know if they misspelled important, but both are true.
Yeah. Yeah. Like, if it's important to the campaign that the player character comes back, then there's the means to do that, and that's under your control as the DM. If it is... if the player doesn't really want the character to come back, they want to roll up a new character, then they absolutely don't have to bring back that character. They can say, nah, he doesn't want it. He's gone. So game mechanics really runs into storytelling in that particular case, and the storytelling in this particular case is the agency of the player to make the decisions about their own character's fate. And really that's all it boils down to. You're not going to bring back a character that the player doesn't want to play anymore. And if it's really important to the dynamic of the group or the story going forward, there should be some means, some lead, some hook that the rest of the characters can follow.
Yeah.
but you don't want to leave that player sitting there twiddling their thumbs while they're waiting for their character to come back to life. So maybe give them an NPC that they can take over for a short amount of time, which is I'm very commonly want to do.
A really easy way to do that I've found in the past is if they need to go to a god or petition a cleric or someone to bring back a person, make that cleric come with them as a sort of, I will accompany you as you continue this quest to record keep and see how much of an impact this character had on their lives.
Yeah.
Suddenly, boom, that player's playing, the cleric is eventually going to bring them back.
Yeah. And you never know, they might actually fall in love with playing that cleric and then eventually go, nah, he doesn't come back on.
He doesn't want to come back.
I'm the cleric now.
I have been charged with continuing the quest with you.
Yeah. Also, if I'm running the campaign, there's a good chance that the only way to keep that cleric alive is if a player is playing them.
Yeah.
Because if it's an NPC, they're probably going to die.
Yeah.
Probably. I'm definitely an NPC killer.
Time shenanigans to fix your soul getting destroyed. Yes and no.
The no deities, sometimes they have their souls taken by devils. Yeah. So, well, devils take you if you have broken divine law. Essentially, that's their deal with the Celestials. So devils are always trying to get you to break divine law. So murder somebody, break a promise, steal, do things which are evil in the eyes of the gods. And then they're like, well, unfortunately, you have to be punished now, and we've signed a contract, a pact, many, many, many eons ago with the devils that they basically take over your punishment for you. And then the devil's like, thank you very much. We will use their soul power to make changes to reality as we see fit. So they don't have divine celestial power to change reality. They need souls in order to do it. So thoughts and prayers in the D&D multiverse actually work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you, Grounded Axeblade. For every novel idea I have that works, there's 10 that I've tried that have failed abysmally.
Yeah, absolutely. Like the pyramids. The pyramids with the dragons.
Oh, come on now. That should have worked.
Never put your characters in a situation where they can negotiate their way without any combat to the very end.
That was a whole campaign arc in a single night.
Yeah.
Oh, I hated you guys so much. I hated Roscoe.
I wasn't even there for that.
I still hate you.
Yeah, I would have done it if I was there. What would be the real world equivalent to mithril? Essentially, it's a purified form of silver. It's like a high tensile silver. So it might be something like tungsten, or yeah. So it's a lightweight, very strong silvery metal that is like, it's usually represented as like a pure silver in D&D, but it's definitely got high tensile properties. Aircraft aluminium, yeah, kinda. It's worked like metal though. It's not worked like yeah, it's more like titanium. Yeah. I would say. And then you've got adamant or adamantine, which is, adamant is actually a ore which is alloyed with other stuff to make adamantine. Titanium's too heavy? No, not really. I've got like a titanium spork, which is really lightweight and it's extremely strong.
Blood magic and D&D. I had a good idea for that once. So say that you're a second level wizard and you needed to cast a 4th level spell, then you just needed to kill enough people to up your artificial level to be able to cast. So 2nd level, you need 3 levels of people, 3 levels extra to become that. Kill 3 people, the blood gives you 3 extra levels, suddenly you're a 5th level wizard for the purpose of casting that spell.
Yeah, I do like
or
the
7th level.
The tunnels and trolls idea of
strength. Yeah.
Yeah, strength, using magical items and stuff to reduce the cost of spells. Yeah, it's got a lot of similarities to titanium. It's not the same though. It's a fantasy metal. Havermel, how did we get into the Poetic Edda? Do we have some scholars of Snorri Sturluson? Ceratanium weapons. Nice. Titanium chainmail shirt only weighs 5 pounds, and yet it was, and yes, it was expensive. Yeah, that would be extremely expensive in this world too. Well, everybody, it is time for us to go.
Oh, geez, mister, just another 5 minutes.
No cheese for you. Yeah, we actually want to eat the cheese off camera now. Yeah. Like, you can be evil and not go to the devils, because if you're following an evil god, you're still following the dictates of that god, and you still go to where that... Like, if you're a follower of Bane, doing Baneite things, you're not breaking any divine laws. So devils have a hard time. If you want to play a Viking campaign, I've got to say that Mythorogue is a really good system for that. It's very realistic. It's very old school, sort of nitty-gritty feel. Lots of tables and charts and stuff for things. If you want to talk about weather and how long it takes you to drown whilst swimming, that's the campaign for you. You can have as much detail as you want. Boo! No more D&D talk. Yeah, I know. Tune in next week, same time, same channel, different cheese.
I won't be there.
You won't be there.
Yeah.
But Ian will be back. Hurstwick is a YouTube channel. Shout out to Hurstwick. Cult of Athena chainmail shirt. Is it good quality? Should be good quality if it's from Cult of Athena. Do unclaimed souls go to places like the Abyss? No, the Abyss just basically corrupts and takes stuff. Souls don't generally go to the Abyss straight away. Mythorogue is splendid, yeah. I've had some really good games with Mythorogue. Jeez! Hey, how to D&D? Fred, nice to see you. Fellow YouTuber and Kiwi from Hamilton.
Oh, sweet. Hi, Fred. It was nice to meet you all.
All right, everybody. Catch you later.
Vrask says goodbye.
And I say goodbye too.